Hey YouTube, it's Penny. I'm going to bring you a two-part dream first, and then a third dream that goes with this. And I'm just going to tell you about the dream first, and then I will provide the interpretation. I have discussed this with my husband David, and he agrees that I have received accurate interpretation. Okay, so on January 12th, I had a two-part dream that began with David asking me if I had done something that he had previously requested me to do. Well, because I thought what he was asking me to do was unnecessary, and I didn't understand why he was asking me to do it, I had ignored it. So, in the next scene, we were with other people in a temporary home or dwelling of some sort, waiting for our new home to be built, which was an apartment in the city. It seemed there was no way our new apartment building would be built by the construction deadline that we had been given, and that meant that we would have to remain in our temporary dwelling longer than we had expected. Some of the other people who lived in our temporary dwelling were invited to a big party, so they left, but we stayed behind. We were waiting patiently with a few others for our apartment building to be completed. And I saw us resting against a wall as we waited. I saw a woman who was giving a presentation where she was demonstrating the features of other new apartments that were also being constructed at the same time as ours, specifically pointing out the sleek new space-age kitchens. I understood that other people would be living in these apartments, but they were not for us. I looked over toward the horizon and saw that our new apartment buildings were being completed in what looked like fast motion, and I understood that they would indeed be completed on time. Okay, part two. I saw a man who was given responsibility for protecting something or someone, and he was on an elevator that seemed to be plunging down to the first floor of a building. He knew that there was a bad guy waiting for him on the first floor, so he pried the elevator doors open and jumped out on the mezzanine level, just above the first floor, and ran over to the edge to look down. So it looked like this. The bad guy, who was dressed in a flesh-colored suit, supernaturally jumped up to grab onto the ledge so that his hands were at this other guy's feet. So the first guy ran away from the ledge to escape the bad guy, and he ran back around a corner into a back room that led to a stairwell that had an alcove where he thought that he could hide from this bad guy. But as he came around the corner, there were bodies of police officers piled on the floor, and he thought they were, dead, and he had to climb over them in order to get to a spot where he thought that it would be safe. Like this guy, he thought the bad guy would come blowing right past us and wouldn't see him. Anyway, so he was standing on the legs of one of the bodies of the police officers that he thought was dead. So I don't know if you can see this. So the guy was like this and his head was down like this, and the man was standing right here, kind of like on his legs. And at that point, the guy lifted up his head, and obviously he wasn't dead. And he said to this guy, "It will be worse for you because of this." And interesting, when I was waking up from this dream, I had a vision of Bible teacher Kate Arthur from Precept Ministries saying, "You need to read the whole book." Okay, so a dream on January 30th that ties in with this was, I dreamt I was driving on a freeway, and all of a sudden a police car pulled ahead of me. So here's me, and the police car comes right here and kind of goes like this. And I knew I wasn't in trouble or anything, even though the lights were flashing. And it was interesting because the car kind of resembled a taxi, so where the light banks were, I could actually read words like where it would normally say taxi, and the words said happy hour on the top of the car. Okay, so I asked the Father for interpretation. So going back to the part where I ignored David because I didn't understand his request, that represents that I was not submitting to authority because I didn't think it was necessary. In the scene of the temporary home, of the apartment in the city, that represents the contrast between where we currently dwell and the place that Yahusha is preparing for us. The fact that some of the other people who lived in our temporary dwelling were invited to a big party, but we stayed behind, I believe speaks to some sort of a false rapture or people going to FEMA camps or something. I've been shown many times that I will be staying behind. Okay, so the kitchens that I saw that were, these space age kitchens in these apartments that were not for us, I asked the Father what the kitchens represent, and I received the word high tech. Okay, so in the second part of the dream, when I saw a man on the elevator, he was shown to me as Joey. And I asked the Father, why did he show me Joey? And he said, friends. So Joey was a character on the TV show Friends. So this is representing my friends, and I think in some cases my former friends who don't understand certain things. Okay, so when I asked him, oh, and remember he was responsible for keeping something safe or protecting something. Well, I was shown that that was the law that he was responsible for keeping. I asked the Father, what was the elevator plunging to the first floor, what did that represent? And he said the fall of Babylon. I asked the Lord what the bad guy in the flesh-colored suit represents. And he said technology. So that was a bit of a surprise to me, but it makes sense in light of the fact that early in the dream I was shown high tech. So, and the fact that he was wearing a flesh-colored suit suggests that this technology will have something to do with flesh or skin. So, okay, this part was really interesting. When I asked the Father, what did the police officers represent that he thought were dead? And the Father said to me, they represent the law that my friends think is dead. And he said that Joey was trampling the law. Okay. Let's see. As far as the police car that I was shown in that dream on the 30th that said happy hour, since I was previously shown a police officer or officers representing the law, I believe that this symbolizes the Torah, going before us. The police lights symbolize how the Torah is a light unto our path, and the upcoming hour of trouble for the world will actually be happy hour for us because we know our Messiah is returning soon. I also believe that we will be supernaturally protected during that time. So when I was looking at the scriptures that came to mind right away as confirmation for these dreams, I was amazed. I shouldn't be, but I'm always amazed by the scriptural confirmation. So Hebrews 10:26-30 says, "For if we sin willfully, after we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remains no more sacrifice for sins, but a certain fearful looking for of judgment and fiery indignation, which shall devour the adversaries. He that despised Mosheh," or Moses, "Torah, died without mercy under 2 or 3 witnesses, of how much sorer punishment," remember when he said it will be worse for you, "suppose ye, shall he be thought worthy who have trodden underfoot," remember I was told he trampled, "the Son of ELOHIYM, and have counted the blood of the covenant wherewith he was sanctified an unholy thing, and have done despite unto the RUACH of grace. For we know him that has said, vengeance belongs unto me, I will recompense, says YAHUAH." So I didn't realize that that whole vengeance belongs to me, or we hear that saying a lot, is in the context of basically trampling underfoot the Torah and the Son of ELOHIYM and the covenant. So for the second dream about the police car going ahead of me, the scriptural confirmation is Psalms 119, 104 through 106. Through your precepts, which I thought was amazing, because remember I had a vision of K. Arthur from Precept Ministries. Through your precepts I get understanding, therefore I hate every false way. Your word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. I have sworn, and I will perform, and I will keep your righteous judgments. I'm going to link to 119 Ministries. I found out actually just today that the reason why they call their ministry 119, and it's because of Psalm 119 and how there's basically, it's all divided into sections based on different letters of the Hebrew alphabet. And I have more that I've been shown about the Hebrew alphabet that I'll share in a separate video, but I wanted to link to some of their teachings, especially things like the Sabbath and end times, and I think it'll bless you. If you're not already familiar with 119 Ministries, I encourage you to check them out. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Blessed are you, our Lord God, King of the universe. Amen.